Hey there! If you're a dog owner here in Grass Valley, you already know this place is pretty special. So, this is your complete guide to finding a great trainer who can help you and your dog really enjoy everything our community has to offer, from the bustling downtown streets all the way to our quiet mountain trails. We're going to cover everything you need to know, one step at a time. So, are you picturing it? You know, those calm, easy walks down Mill Street without all the pulling? Or maybe just more peaceful hikes on our local trails without any chaos? Well, that's exactly what good training can do, and we're about to explore how to make that happen. Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about what makes having a dog in Grass Valley so unique. Then, we'll get into different training methods, how to pick a pro, cover the local rules, and finish up with the exact questions you need to be asking. Let's get to it. All right, first things first, your Grass Valley dog. Look, this isn't just some generic advice you could find anywhere. It's all about our specific lifestyle here and the real situations you and your dog run into every single day. I mean, just think about a typical day, right? You might be trying to navigate a crowded sidewalk on Mill Street, or maybe you're at the farmer's market. And what about when you're on a trail and a deer just pops out of nowhere? A good trainer gets that these are the real-world skills your dog needs to learn. So now that we've kind of set the scene, let's talk about the training itself. Because before you can pick the right person, it really helps to understand what good, humane training looks like and the different ways it's offered. The heart of modern, effective training is something called positive reinforcement. Really, it's pretty simple. It just means focusing on rewarding the behaviors you want to see. This builds a really strong bond of trust. And, it actually makes learning fun for your dog. It's all about clear communication, not scaring them into behavior. So, how does this training actually happen? Well, you've basically got two main paths. On one hand, you have group classes. These are fantastic for socialization, and they're usually easier on the wallet. A really good option for puppies or dogs learning the basics. On the other hand, there's private training, which is totally customized to you, your goals, and your home. This is perfect if you're trying to tackle something specific, like barking at the doorbell or leash reactivity. Okay, with that background on training methods, you're pretty much ready to start looking for the right professional. This next part is all about giving you the tools to check out trainers based on what really counts, like their qualifications and what you should actually expect to pay. Now, California doesn't actually require trainers to be licensed, so certifications are a really good way to gauge the professionalism. You'll want to look for letters like these on a trainer's website. For instance, KPA, CTP means they've gone through a tough program focused on positive reinforcement. Others, like the CPDT KA, show they have a solid, well-rounded knowledge of training. These things show a real commitment to their education and to a science-based approach. Of course, a huge piece of this puzzle is the cost. So, what's a typical investment for professional dog training right here in our area? Let's take a look at the numbers. Okay, so here's a general breakdown of what costs look like for 2025. You can see that a group class that runs for several weeks might be a couple $100, while something more intensive, like a board and train program, is obviously a much bigger investment. This should give you a pretty realistic starting point for your budget. And just to zero in on one specific number, if you're thinking about private one-on-one help, you should probably expect to pay somewhere between $100 and $175 for a single session. This can be a great way to tackle one specific problem without signing up for a whole package. So, once you actually start training, you'll need to know the local rules of the road and find some good places to practice. This next section covers the essential laws and some really fantastic local spots for you to put those new skills into action. The single most important rule to know is super straightforward. Here in Grass Valley, the leash law is enforced in all public spaces. So unless you're in a specifically designated off-leash park, your dog has to be on a leash, period. And here's a really practical tip. For both safety and control, a standard 6-foot leash is your best bet for walking around downtown, in our local parks, and at the start of any trail. It's probably best to just leave those retractable leashes at home for these kinds of situations. Now, besides the leash laws, there are a few other must-haves for all dog owners in Nevada County. Your dog has to have a current rabies vaccination and needs to be licensed with the county. And this is important. They have to be wearing both of those tags on their collar at all times. So where can you go to work on all this stuff? Well, the dog park at Memorial Park is perfect for safely practicing off-leash skills like recall. The trails over at Empire Mine are fantastic for working on leash manners with plenty of distractions. And Condon Park is a great spot for general obedience practice in a busier community setting. We've made it to our final section, and this one is all about action. Think of this as your checklist. These are the absolute most important questions to ask any trainer you're considering during that first phone call or consultation. This is what's going to help you make the right choice. First up, ask them straight up about their methods and the tools they use. You want to hear them talking about positive reinforcement, using rewards, and keeping things low stress and fun. This question helps you make sure they're using humane techniques and not methods based on fear or pain. Next, ask them how they're going to tailor the training just for you. A really good trainer will want to know all about your specific challenges, whether that's your dog reacting to deer on the trails or getting overwhelmed downtown, and they'll build a plan around those real-life situations. And don't ever be shy about asking about their qualifications. A true professional will be happy to share their certifications with you and talk about how they stay current in their field. It just shows that they're committed to their profession and using modern, effective techniques. And finally, make sure you get total clarity on the money side of things. Ask what the total cost is, exactly what's included in that price, and what their policy is if you have to cancel or reschedule. Getting this all up front prevents any awkward surprises down the line. You know, picking the right trainer really is the first step toward a fantastic result. Enjoying those calm walks past your neighbors, feeling confident on the trail, and just having a happy, well-behaved buddy by your side. Best of luck on your training journey.